The divorce papers in my hand still carried the coldness of ink, and the red fingerprint pressed by my fingertip looked like a blood-stained mole, burning a dull pain into my chest. As I stepped out of the main gate of the Gu family estate, Butler Fubo caught up with me, his polished leather shoes clicking against the pavement. The usual pretense of respect on his face had vanished, replaced by a sneer, and his eyes brimmed with contempt. "Clarissa, wait a minute." Fubo's voice was sharp and piercing, like a needle pricking my ears. "The sir has instructed that this Qingshan villa is something Miss Lily quite likes. You must pack your things and move out within 10 minutes. I halted mid-step and turned to look at him. The sun was glaring, making every wrinkle on Fubo's forehead painfully clear, the lines etched with years of disdain toward me. I had been a full-time wife in the Gu household for 3 years. Rising every morning to tend to Rowan Gu's daily needs, catering to his picky mother, and in the end, I couldn't even get 10 minutes of rest. 10 minutes. I clenched the divorce papers in my hand, my knuckles turning white. "Fubo, I've lived in this villa for 3 years. You want me to pack all my clothes, jewelry, and personal belongings in 10 minutes? Fubo let out a sarcastic snort, crossing his arms behind his back in a pretense of authority. "Clarissa, don't be ungrateful. If Miss Lily hadn't been kind-hearted and thought this house was better occupied than empty, you wouldn't have lasted 10 minutes. Think back to how you married into the Gu family. Had Mr. not felt pity for your fallen circumstances, could you have enjoyed these 3 years of comfort? Now that you're divorced, act like it. Don't keep occupying a place Miss Lily likes. Pity me." I suddenly laughed, but tears nearly spilled over. 3 years ago, my family suffered a disaster. My father fell seriously ill, and our company went bankrupt. Rowan Gu proposed to me when I was at my lowest. I thought I'd found a lifeline, but instead I jumped into another pit of fire. On the first day of marriage, my mother-in-law laid down the rules. A Gu family wife mustn't show herself publicly, and must stay home to serve her husband. Rowan Gu went along with her, saying he could support me. I believed him. Poured all my energy into this household, but what did I get in return? His increasingly late returns, his ambiguous text messages with Lily Lin, and his mother's growing hostility. Last month, when Lily Lin returned to the country, Rowan Gu no longer bothered to pretend. He brought her home, even in front of me insisted on giving Lily Lin a proper place. I filed for divorce, and he didn't even blink, generously signing the papers, then kindly gave me a 200,000 compensation, saying it would be enough to sustain me for a while. Uncle Fu, this house was a dowry my father gave me with the last of his savings when we got married. Rowan Gu only paid the final installment. Why should I move out? I bit back the grievance and anger in my heart, speaking each word distinctly. Uncle Fu seemed to have heard the funniest joke in the world, clutching his stomach and laughing for a long time. "Dowry, Clarissa. You really know how to flatter yourself. Your father went bankrupt years ago. What money did he have to pay the down payment? The property deed is registered under Mr. Gu's name. He says you must leave, so you have to leave." He said this, then pulled a phone out of his pocket, opened a photo, and held it out to me. "Look, Miss Lily is on her way here. She specifically instructed that she wants to see her new villa in person. If you're smart, pack your things and leave quickly. Don't wait until Ms. Lily arrives. Let's not make things awkward for everyone." In the photo, Lily Lin wore a pink dress, leaning affectionately into Rowan Gu's arms, laughing helplessly. The background was the living room of this villa, the sofa I had personally chosen, the decorative paintings I had arranged. All of it had now become a backdrop for their public display of affection. A surge of anger rose from my heart, and I swatted away his phone. "I'm not leaving. This house is part of my share. Why should I go?" "You still dare to talk back?" Uncle Fu's face darkened, and he gestured to the side. 2 bodyguards in black immediately stepped forward. "It seems you don't know your own worth until I teach you a lesson. Take her things and throw them out." The bodyguards responded at once. One snatched the divorce papers from my hand and flung them to the ground. then reached up to grab my arm. I struggled to back away, but lost my footing and fell onto the steps, my knees aching from the impact. "Stop." Just then, a clear female voice rang out. I looked up and saw my best friend, Raven Sue. She pulled up in a red sports car, quickly parking at the entrance and rushing over to help me up. "Clara, are you okay? Did you get hurt?" "Raven Sue, what are you doing here?" I gritted my teeth as I stood up, a sharp pain shooting through my knee, probably scraped some skin. Raven Sue looked at my knee with concern, then turned and glared at Fubo, her temper instantly rising. "Fubo, who do you think you are? How dare you treat Clara like this? Is there no one left in the Gu family, letting a butler like you run around here acting high and mighty?" Fubo clearly recognized Raven Sue. Although her family wasn't as prominent as the Gu family, she still came from a respectable household. He dared not be too insolent and softened his tone. "Miss Sue, this is a family matter for the Gu family. You should stay out of it." "Family matter," Raven Sue snorted coldly. "Clara just divorced Rowan Gu, and you're already eager to kick her out, even letting that Lily Lin move in. Is that how the Gu family operates? Let me tell you this today, if Clara so much as loses a hair, I won't let you off the hook." Raven Sue, Fubo's face turned pale then flushed with anger. He glanced at Raven Sue, then at me, and finally muttered with a forced expression, "This is the master's command. If Miss Sue has any complaints, she can take them up with him. I'm only responsible for carrying out orders. In 10 minutes, Miss Lily will arrive, and this house must be vacated." Raven Sue was still about to argue with him, but I pulled her arm gently and shook my head. I knew it was pointless to argue with someone like Fubo. He was just Rowan Gu's dog, barking whenever his master told him to. "I'll move." I took a deep breath, suppressing the tears in my eyes. "But 10 minutes isn't enough. I need an hour." "No way." Fubo rejected the request without even thinking. 20 minutes at most. Miss Lily's time is valuable. She can't be kept waiting. I stopped arguing with him and turned to walk into the villa. The living room was in total disarray. My belongings were scattered all over the floor, and the pothose plant I'd nurtured for 3 years lay broken on the ground, its leaves drooping. I crouched down, carefully propping the plant back upright. A wave of bitterness welled up inside me. Raven Sue followed me in, helping me gather my things. "Clara, don't be so hard on yourself. That scumbag Rowan Gu and that fake innocent Lily Lin, they'll get their comeuppance someday." I gave a bitter smile and placed the pothose into a cardboard box. "Comeuppance? I've waited 3 years and still haven't seen it." Just then, my phone rang. An unfamiliar number. I hesitated for a moment before answering. "Is this a mess, Clara Xia?" A calm male voice came from the other end of the phone. "This is me. May I ask who you are?" "I am the lawyer for the Lin Group. My name is Kim Zhang. Your grandfather, Mr. Lin Jiangwo, passed away 3 days ago, and he left a will designating you as the sole heir to all his assets. I'm currently at the entrance of Qingshan Villa. Would it be convenient for you to come out so we can discuss the will in detail?" "Grandfather, Lin Jiangwo." I was stunned. I've taken my mother's surname, Xia, since I was little. My mother rarely mentioned my grandfather, only saying he was doing business abroad and was very busy. I hadn't even seen my grandfather a few times. How could he leave all his fortune to me? "Clara, what's wrong?" Raven Sue noticed my pale expression and asked with concern. Before I could answer, Uncle Fu pushed open the door and glanced at his phone, saying impatiently, "Clara Xia, 20 minutes are up. Why aren't you ready yet? Miss Lily is already at the door. Hurry up." He hadn't finished speaking when the villa's front door burst open. A group of men in black suits stepped inside, led by a man in his 50s wearing gold-rimmed glasses. He had a refined demeanor and held a black briefcase. Upon seeing me, he immediately stepped forward and courteously offered his hand. "Good day, Miss Clara Xia. I'm Kim Zhang." Uncle Fu was taken aback by the commotion. He frowned and demanded, "Who are you? Who allowed you to come in?" Kim Jong ignored him completely, only looking at me. Miss Clarissa, can we find a quiet place to talk? There are some details regarding your inheritance of the Lin Group and other assets that need your confirmation. The Lin Group. My heart skipped a beat. Although I don't pay much attention to the business world, I know the Lin Group is one of the top multinational corporations in the country, with assets worth at least tens of billions. Was my grandfather really the chairman of the Lin Group? Mr. Fu, too, had heard of the Lin Group. His face changed, and he looked at me in disbelief. Clarissa, you know someone from the Lin Group? I didn't respond to him, instead nodding at Kim Jong. Okay, let's go to the living room to talk. Kim Jong nodded slightly and gave a gesture to the people behind him. They immediately dispersed, standing at various corners of the living room, as if protecting my safety. Uncle Fu was left standing aside, his face turning pale and red alternately. He wanted to say something, but was met with a cold glare from one of Kim Jong's bodyguards behind him, forcing him to swallow his words. I walked to the sofa in the living room and sat down. Kim Jong placed his briefcase on the coffee table, opened it, and took out a document, handing it to me. Ms. Clarissa, here is the original will of your grandfather, along with the asset proof of the Lin Group. You can take a look. I took the document, my fingers trembling. The will clearly stated that my grandfather, Lin Jiangwo, had voluntarily left me all of the Lin Group's 51% shares, as well as all his property, vehicles, deposits, and other assets. The figures on the asset proof were overwhelming, over 10 billion in cash deposits alone, not to mention the real estate and company shares. Just then, Lily Lin's sweet voice echoed from the doorway. Rowan, look how beautiful this villa is. I love it so much. Rowan Gu and Lily Lin walked in hand. Lily Lin wore a pink dress and a crystal headband on her head, looking like a child who hadn't grown up yet. As soon as she entered, she saw me, and the smile on her face vanished instantly, replaced by a look of disgust. Clarissa, why are you still here? Didn't Mr. Fu tell you that this house now belongs to me? Rowan Gu also frowned, his face growing dark when he saw Kim Jong and others in the living room. Clara, who are these people? What are you up to? I lifted my head, looking at them, and slowly a smile curved my lips. The will in my hand seemed to have infused me with infinite strength. My previous grievances and anger had, in this moment, transformed into confidence. Kim Jong stood up and walked to Rowan Gu, saying coldly, Sir, please be mindful of your words. Ms. Clarissa is the sole heir of the Lin Group and the legal owner of this Qingshan villa. May I ask what authority you have to ask Ms. Clarissa to move out of her own home? Rowan Gu and Lily Lin were both stunned, staring at me in disbelief. What did you say? This house is hers. Kim Jong took out a property deed from his briefcase and handed it to them. This is the original property deed of Qingshan Villa. The owner is Mr. Lin Jiangwo, Ms. Clarissa's grandfather. Now that Mr. Lin Jiangwo has passed away, the property has been legally inherited by Ms. Clarissa. Therefore, this house now belongs to Ms. Clarissa, and no one has the right to force her to move out. Rowan Gu's face instantly turned pale. He looked at me, his eyes filled with shock and disbelief. Lily Lin, on the other hand, staggered back a step as if all her strength had been drained from her, muttering, Impossible, this can't be. I stood up and walked toward them, looking down at Lily Lin from above. Miss Lin, didn't you love this villa? Too bad, it's mine, and Rowan Gu, we're already divorced. Please take your so-called white moonlight and get out of my house right now. Fox, who had been standing by, watched everything unfold, his mouth gaping wide enough to fit an egg. His arrogant expression shifted to one of terror, and his body began trembling uncontrollably. Rowan Gu finally snapped back to his senses. He grabbed my wrist, urgency in his voice. Clara, I know I was wrong. We can get back together, okay? I acted foolish just now. The one I love has always been you. Let go of her. The bodyguards behind Kim Jong immediately stepped forward, yanking Rowan Gu's hand away and pressing him against the wall. I rubbed my wrist, which had been hurt by his grip, and said coldly, Rowan Gu, don't get delusional. 3 years ago, I married you because I was blind. Now I see clearly. Men like you aren't even worthy to tie my shoes. Lily Lin screamed. Clarissa, don't push it too far. Rowan loves me. You're just lucky enough to inherit some money. What's so special about you? Getting lucky? I laughed. Even without this inheritance, I'd still be better than you. Some lowly gold-digging, backstabbing slimeball who steals other people's husbands. Lawyer Zhang. I turned to Kim Zhang. Please help me deal with this. Get these two and that butler out of here. Also, inform the property management. None of them are allowed to step foot in this neighborhood again. Yes, Miss Clarissa. Kim Zhang replied respectfully, then signaled to the guards. The bodyguard immediately stepped forward, grabbing Rowan Gu and Lily Lin and forcing them out. Lily Lin was still struggling and screaming, while Rowan Gu looked at me with regret, constantly begging, Clara, I was wrong. Just give me another chance, Mr. Fu was so frightened that his legs went weak, nearly collapsing to the ground. He looked at me, trembling as he said, Miss Xia, I didn't mean to. I was just blinded by greed. You're a generous person. Please don't hold it against me. I looked at his obsequious demeanor, feeling not the slightest pity. The way he treated me back then, I now returned to him tenfold. You two, get out. I said coldly, don't ever appear in front of me again, Uncle Fu. Feeling relieved as if granted a pardon, hurriedly scrambled out of the room. The living room finally fell silent. Raven Sue walked over to me and hugged me tightly, her voice filled with excitement. Clara, it's fantastic. You've finally seen it through. A fortune worth billions. From now on, you're truly the queen of the elite. I hugged her back, my eyes growing damp. The grievances of the past 3 years finally found release in this moment. I looked at the heavy will on the coffee table and silently swore to myself that from this day forward, Clarissa, would never again be taken advantage of. Rowan Gu, Lily Lin, and all those who once looked down on me, every single one of them would pay for what they did. Kim Zhang watched us and smiled gently. Miss Clarissa, congratulations on inheriting the Lin Group. Next, we need to arrange for you to visit the company to get familiar with the business. And there are a few legal documents you'll need to sign. When would be convenient for you? I wiped away my tears, looked at Kim Zhang, and said firmly, I'm going tomorrow. Not only will I inherit my grandfather's fortune, but I'll also make Lin Group even greater. As Mr. Fu's scrambling footsteps faded outside the door, the villa's main door was violently pounded, and Rowan Gu's shout mixed with Lily Lin's crying reached inside. Clarissa, open the door, you liar. Did you know in advance you'd inherit the fortune and deliberately divorce me? Raven Sue was so angry she rolled up her sleeves to go open the door and argue, but I grabbed her and gave Kim Zhang a glance. Kim Zhang immediately understood and sternly instructed the guards at the door, hold the door, no one enters without Miss Xiao's command. Yes, Lawyer Zhang, a strong voice from outside responded, followed by Rowan Gu's furious kicking at the door. Clarissa, don't hide in there pretending to be dead. How can you treat our 3 years of marriage like this? I let out a cold laugh, bent down, and picked up the crumpled divorce papers from the floor, smoothing them out with the paperweight on the coffee table. The confidence with which Rowan Gu had signed his name back then now seemed glaringly ostentatious in my memory. I turned to Kim Zhang and pointed to the sofa. Lawyer Zhang, please have a seat. Let's talk slowly. As soon as Kim Zhang sat down, he took out a stack of documents from his briefcase and pushed them toward me. Miss Xia, this is the list of core assets of the Lin Group, including 17 branches worldwide, 5 office buildings, 12 luxury villas, as well as overseas oil fields and vineyards. Additionally, the old man has 30 billion in liquid funds in a Swiss bank, all of which now belong to you. Raven Sue leaned in to take a look, then gasped, Oh my God, Clara. This is like giving you half the world. My fingertips brushed over the numbers on the documents, and my heart couldn't help but race. So it wasn't that my mother didn't want to talk about grandfather back then. She was afraid I'd be swallowed by that wealth, wanted me to live an ordinary life. Yet I precisely chose Rowan-gu, making myself so humbled. Miss Xia, Kim Jing's voice brought me back to the present, before he passed away. The old master instructed that once you inherit the family fortune, you would take over the position of CEO of the group. There's a board meeting next Monday that requires your personal attendance. Also, your dedicated driver and security team are waiting outside. They will be responsible for your safety and transportation from now on. I had just nodded when the commotion outside the door escalated. Lily Lin's wailing pierced through the door. Rowan-gu, you can't do this to me. I waited for you overseas for 3 years, and now you're actually going to remarry that woman. Shut up, Rowan-gu shouted impatiently. If you hadn't insisted on snatch this villa, would I have ended up fighting with Clara Xia like this? Do you even know how powerful the Lin Corporation is? If we could reconcile with Clara Xia, the Gu family could skyrocket. Raven Su frowned deeply. This Rowan-gu is so realistic. She's already thinking about using you to get ahead right after the divorce. I picked up the glass of water from the table, took a sip, and said calmly, he's always been like this, only cares about. Before the words had even faded, the doorbell of the villa began ringing frantically. Kim Zhang stood up to answer it, but I raised my hand to stop him. Let him in, I'd like to see what trick he's trying to pull. The bodyguard opened the door, and Rowan-gu shoved Lily Lin aside, stumbling into the room and quickly rushing toward me, trying to grab my hand. The bodyguard, quick to react, blocked him from 2 meters away. Clara, I was wrong. Rowan-gu's eyes were red with anxiety as he struggled desperately. It was all my fault before. I was blinded by greed and fell for Lily Lin's deception. You're a gracious person. Please give me another chance. Let's remarry. I'll treat you well, I promise. Lily Lin ran in along with her hair messy and her skirt wrinkled, looking like a pear blossom drenched in rain. Clara Xia, don't believe his lies. He told me yesterday that once he divorced you, he would marry me. So what if you inherited the family fortune? He loves me. You're lying. Rowan-gu turned and shouted. When did I ever say that? Don't you dare sow discord here. The two of them were arguing so fiercely, their faces red, like a pair of clownish pantomime actors. I leaned back on the sofa and said slowly, Rowan-gu, you want to get back together because I'm now the heir to the Lin Group, right? Rowan-gu's face stiffened for a moment, then he forced a smile. Clara, how can you say that? My feelings for you are real, but now that you have such a great business, if we work together as a couple, we can definitely live a better life, moving in sync as husband and wife, I sneered, pulling a photo from the file and throwing it in front of him. This is a picture of you on vacation in the Maldives with Lily Lin last month. At that time, you told me you were out of town on business. Rowan-gu, do you think I'd still believe you? This photo was just handed to me by Kim Zhang, said to have been taken when my grandfather arranged for someone to protect me before his passing. It turns out that my grandfather had witnessed all the grievance I've endured over the past 3 years. But back then my mother wouldn't allow him to get involved in my marriage. Rowan-gu stared at the photo, his face turning deathly pale, unable to utter a single word. Lily Lin, on the other hand, seized the moment like a lifeline, pointing at the photo and shouting, Look, I told you he loves me. Clara Xia, stop deluding yourself. I ignored Lily Lin and only looked at Rowan-gu. Rowan-gu, the divorce agreement clearly states that you owe me 200,000 in compensation. Now I'm returning that 200,000 to you. From this day forward, our accounts are settled, and I never want to have anything to do with you again. I signaled Kim Zhang to take out 200,000 cash from the briefcase and threw it in front of Rowan-gu. The red bills scattered all over the floor, glaring and harsh. Rowan-gu stared at the money on the ground, his face turning pale then red. He crouched down, trying to pick it up, But feeling ashamed, his hand froze in midair, looking particularly pitiful at that moment. There was a commotion at the villa entrance. Several servants dressed in Gu family uniforms carried a stretcher into the house, led by the old domestic, Miss Lee. When she saw me, she hurried forward, her face flustered, saying, "Miss Xia, it's not good, Mr. Fu, he's fainted." Following her gaze, I saw Mr. Fu lying motionless on the stretcher, his face deathly pale, eyes tightly closed. It turned out that after Mr. Fu ran out earlier, he met members of the Gu family at the entrance of the neighborhood. Upon hearing that I had truly inherited a fortune worth billions and had kicked Rowan Gu and Lily Lin out, he was so shocked he lost consciousness and collapsed. Rowan Gu saw Uncle Fu and immediately forgot about the money on the ground, rushing over. "What's wrong with Uncle Fu? We need to get him to the hospital right away," Mrs. Lee wept, saying, "Sir, we were just about to send him. But Uncle Fu fainted while doing something for you. How will we cover the medical bills?" Rowan Gu furrowed his brow. His company was currently short on funds, and he didn't want to spend a cent on this useless expense. He turned to look at me, an almost pleading expression in his eyes. "Clara, even though Uncle Fu wasn't respectful to you before, he was following my orders. You're so wealthy now, can't you?" "No," I interrupted him sharply. "Uncle Fu is your butler. His life or death has nothing to do with me," and I pointed to the door. "Take Uncle Fu, you, and your so-called true love and get out of my house right now. If you dare break in again, I'll call the police." Rowan Gu was about to say more when Kim Zhang stood up and said coldly, "Mr. Gu, please don't test Miss Xia's limits. The legal department of the Lin Group is always on standby. If you persist in troubling us, we won't hesitate to resolve this through legal means." Rowan Gu looked at Kim Zhang's serious expression and then glanced at the surrounding bodyguards glaring hungrily. Realizing that continuing the scene would only bring him harm, he clenched his teeth, had his men carry Mr. Fu, and dragged the still sobbing Lily Lin away, leaving in defeat. The living room finally fell silent. Raven Su let out a sigh of relief. "Thank goodness we finally got rid of those troublemakers. Clara, you were so cool just now, especially when you threw the money in Rowan Gu's face. That was absolutely justice served." I smiled, and the heavy stone in my heart finally came down. Kim Zhang looked at me respectfully and said, "Miss Xia, I'll accompany you to the bank next to transfer the old man's assets into your name. Also, several vice presidents of the group would like to meet you. When would be convenient for you?" I stood up, adjusting my clothes, my eyes firm. "Let's go to the bank now. As for the vice presidents, let them come to the group headquarters to see me at 9 a.m. tomorrow." Before, I revolved around Rowan Gu and lost myself. Now that I've inherited my grandfather's business, I must shoulder this responsibility and live a different life. The farce between Rowan Gu and Lily Lin is just an appetizer to my new life. Those who once bullied me, I won't let any of them off the hook. Kim Zhang nodded, signaling the bodyguards to prepare the car. Raven Su took my hand and said excitedly, "Clara, I'm going with you. I want to see with my own eyes how a billionaire woman handles asset transfers." I smiled and nodded, walking out of the villa with her. Sunlight bathed my body, warm and bright. A line of black Bentleys was parked at the entrance, the lead driver politely opening the door for me. I got inside the car, watching the scenery flash by outside the window, secretly vowing to myself, "Grandfather, don't worry. I'll surely carry forward the Lin Group and won't let you down." The Bentley glided smoothly along the financial district, with skyscrapers lining the streets outside. Sunlight reflected off the glass facades, dazzling and nearly blinding. Raven Su leaned against the car window, eyes wide as she kept gazing out, muttering in awe, "Clara, look at that Lin's tower. It's not just 100 times more impressive than that shabby Gu family company. It's in a whole different league. That's going to be your territory from now on." Just imagine how awesome it feels. Following her gaze, I saw the Linz Tower, an 88-story skyscraper reaching straight into the clouds. The four large characters Lin Group at its peak shimmered gold, standing out strikingly. I had seen it once before from afar at a business banquet with Rowan Gu, back when it seemed completely out of reach. Now, this building and the vast fortune empire behind it were all mine. Stop staring so much. I patted Raven-Sue's hand. I'm starting work at the group tomorrow. There's still a lot to learn. Kim Jin, sitting in the passenger seat, turned and handed me a tablet. Miss Xia, here are the profiles of department heads in the group, along with summaries of a few key recent projects. You can take a look during the drive. I took the tablet and began to carefully go through the materials. The information was detailed, with each responsible person's resume and areas of expertise clearly outlined. The progress of key projects and risk assessments also clearly displayed. What my grandfather left behind was not just wealth, but also a well-managed, talent-rich business empire. The car soon arrived at the private VIP center of the Swiss bank. The bank manager had already arrived with a team of staff waiting at the entrance. As I stepped out of the car, he immediately approached respectfully. Miss Xia, good day. I'm Mark, the manager here. Mr. Lin has already informed us, and we're all ready. Mark gestured with an inviting motion, leading us into the luxurious VIP lounge. The room was carpeted with thick rugs, adorned with expensive oil paintings on the walls, and the coffee table was set with sophisticated tea, snacks, and champagne. Miss Xia, here are your asset transfer documents. Please review and sign once you've confirmed. Mark handed me a thick file, with a specially designed pen placed beside it. I took the document and quickly flipped through it. The contents matched the list Kim Jin had given me earlier, with no issues at all. I picked up the pen and carefully wrote Clara Xia in the signature section. The moment I put the pen down, my hand didn't tremble at all. On the contrary, it was filled with strength. From this moment on, I officially became the owner of these assets. Miss Xia, congratulations. Mark smiled and clapped his hands. From now on, all your assets have been transferred. This is your exclusive black card, valid worldwide with no spending limit. He handed me a black credit card, intricately engraved with beautiful patterns and embedded with a small diamond. Raven-Sue leaned in to take a look and was utterly stunned. My goodness, is this the legendary infinite black card? Clara, you're truly a top-tier billionaire now. I put the black card away and nodded at Mark. Thank you, Manager Mark. It is my honor to serve Miss Xia. Mark bowed slightly. If you have any financial needs, please feel free to contact me at any time. As soon as we finished the asset transfer procedures and walked out of the bank, my phone rang. It was an unfamiliar landline number, showing the location as the Gu family's ancestral home. I hesitated for a moment, then answered. Immediately, Zhao Lan's sharp voice, Rowan Gu's mother, echoed from the other end. Clara Xia, you ungrateful wretch. What have you done to Rowan? And Uncle Fu, he's still unconscious in the hospital. You must take responsibility. Zhao Lan was notorious for being a snob. When I was in the Gu household, she had never made things easy for me. She disdained my family's fallen status, saying I wasn't worthy of her precious son. She criticized my lack of style, claiming I brought shame to the Gu family. Even my cooking was not good enough for her taste, forcing me to learn from the house staff for a whole month. Aunt Zhao, please watch your words, I said coldly. Rowan Gu is perfectly fine. Uncle Fu's coma was due to his own fear. What does that have to do with me? None of your business, Zhao Lan screamed. If you hadn't deliberately hidden your billions of wealth and forced Rowan to divorce you, would Rowan be so heartbroken? Would Mr. Fu be so terrified? Clara Xia, I'm telling you, you must come to the hospital right away to apologize to Mr. Fu and pay all the medical expenses, otherwise I'll take you to court. I was almost driven to laughter by her shamelessness. Mrs. Zhao, it was Rowan Gu who cheated first and initiated the divorce, asking me to split up. What does that have to do with me concealing my assets? Besides, Uncle Fu is the butler of the Gu family. His medical bills should naturally be borne by them. Why should I pay? Go ahead and sue me if you want. I'd love to see whether a court would support your unreasonable demands, you little vile creature. Zhao Lan was so angry she could barely speak. I don't care. Come to the hospital right now. Otherwise, I'll go to Lin Group and make everyone know you're an ungrateful, heartless, thankless wretch. I frowned. Zhao Lan was the type of person who would do anything if she really caused a scene at Lin Group. Although it wouldn't affect me much, it would inevitably disrupt the company's normal operations. All right, I'll be there now, I said in a low voice. Send me the address. After hanging up the phone, Raven Su immediately said, Clara, don't go. That old witch Zhao Lan certainly has no good intentions. She just wants to extort money from you. I know. I nodded, but I can't let her cause a scene at the group. Besides, I also want to see what Rowan Gu is like now. Lawyer Zhang, come with me. Yes, Miss Xia, Kim Zhang replied. We drove to the hospital address Zhao Lan had sent. On the way, Kim Zhang handed me a document. Miss Xia, this is the recent financial report of Gu Group. I had someone look into it. Gu Group's financial situation is extremely tight now, with several major projects stalled due to lack of funding. The main reason Rowan Gu is so eager to remarry you is to use the power of Lin Group to revive Gu Group. I took the report and quickly scanned it. Sure enough, Gu Group's financial condition was even worse than I had imagined, with debts amounting to billions. No wonder Rowan Gu had been so desperate to remarry me earlier. He had no other option. Deserved it. I sneered coldly. He took the money my father gave him for investments, lost everything, and now he wants me to clean up the mess. Not happening. The car arrived at the hospital very quickly. As we entered the corridor of the inpatient ward, we heard Zhao Lan sobbing. Why is my fate so hard? My son has been deceived. The housekeeper is in a coma, and the family company is on the verge of collapse. The corridor was crowded with people, all pointing and whispering among themselves. Isn't that the elderly woman from the Gu family? Why is she crying so bitterly? I heard her son just got divorced, and his former daughter-in-law suddenly inherited a fortune worth billions. She wants her to remarry, but the other party refuses. Is that even possible? Her son is such a waste, ignoring a billionaire mother and going off to have an affair. Hearing these whispers, Zhao Lan cried even harder, sobbing and shouting, It's all because of that little bitch Clarissa. She did it on purpose. She only revealed her true wealth after our Rowan divorced her. She's trying to get revenge on us. When did I ever want to get revenge on you? I stepped forward, my voice cold. Aunt Zhao, you need proof before making such accusations. Seeing me, Zhao Lan immediately stopped crying, stood up abruptly, and pointed at my nose, cursing, Clarissa. How dare you come here? Kneel down and apologize now, and pay for Uncle Fu's medical bills, or I won't let you off. Kneel and apologize, I sneered. Aunt Zhao, have you gone senile? I'm already not making you apologize to me. How dare you ask me to kneel before you? What do you mean? Zhao Lan frowned. What do I mean? I stepped forward a pace, my gaze icy. What have you done to me and the Gu family these past 3 years? You made me rise before dawn to cook, made me wash all your silk clothes by hand, had me act as a servant in front of relatives, serving you, all of that. Have you forgotten? And when Rowan Gu cheated on Lily Lin, not only did you not stop him, you helped him hide it, even saying it's normal for men to have many wives and concubines. Have you forgotten that too? My voice wasn't loud, but every word reached the ears of those around us clearly. Everyone stared at Zhao Lan with strange expressions, and murmurs among the crowd grew louder. So this old lady is actually that outrageous. Yeah, the former daughter-in-law suffered so much at her place, and now that she's successful, she's turning around and blaming her. That's really shameful. Zhao Lan's face turned pale and then flushed with anger. She pointed at me, trembling with rage. You're lying. When did I ever treat you like that? You know very well whether I'm making things up. I took out my phone from the bag and turned on the recording function. By the way, I still have a recording here. This is from the last time you called me a hen that doesn't lay eggs. Should I play it for everyone to hear? Actually, I hadn't recorded anything at all, but Zhao Lan, guilty as a thief, turned pale the moment she heard my words and quickly waved her hands, saying, "Don't play it. Don't play it." Just then, the ward door opened, and Rowangu walked out. Seeing me, his eyes lit up, and he hurried forward. "Clara, you're here. I knew you still care about me." "Rowangu, don't flatter yourself." I took a step back, putting distance between us. "I came here to tell you and your mom to stop bothering me." Rowangu's face stiffened for a moment, then he sighed. "Clara, I know you're still angry, but I really know I was wrong. Will you give me one more chance? Let's get back together. I'll definitely cut off all contact with Lily Lin and live a good life with you." "Live a good life?" I let out a cold laugh. "You mean live a good life with my billions, right?" "Rowangu, let me tell you, it's impossible." "No, Clara, I'm serious about you." Rowangu grabbed my arm in desperation. "It was all my fault before. I was blinded by greed. Look, I've already made it clear to Lily Lin. And I told her not to come looking for me again." "You made things clear to her?" I arched an eyebrow. "Then why is she still waiting downstairs at the hospital?" Rowangu was momentarily stunned, then turned to look out the window. Sure enough, Lily Lin was standing downstairs in front of the hospital, holding an insulated container, and gazing toward the ward with a pouty expression. How could she come? Rowangu's eyes avoided mine. How should I know? I pulled my hand away from him. "Rowangu, I don't have time to waste on you here. First, Fubo's medical expenses have nothing to do with me. You'll have to pay for them yourself. Second, you and your mother are never to bother me again under any pretext. Third, return to me the property deed of the dowry house my father gave me, or I'll take legal action." "The property deed?" Rowangu's expression shifted. "That deed, I think it's lost." "Lost?" I narrowed my eyes. "Rowangu, are you lying to me?" "That deed was definitely in the safe in your study." "I know because I happened to see it once when I was cleaning the study. Back then, Rowangu told me that keeping the property deed with him was safer. Looking back now, he was clearly trying to take over my house." Rowangu's face grew even darker when I exposed his lie. Zhao Lan quickly stepped in to smooth things over. "Clara, the property deed really was lost. We're still looking for it. Look, you're so wealthy now. You don't care about one house anyway. Why not let it be Rowan's keepsake?" "A keepsake?" I laughed angrily. "Why would I leave my house to a cheating bastard as a keepsake?" "Aunt Zhao, don't push me too far. Give me the property deed within 3 days, or I'll see you both for possession of someone else's property." Kim Zhang also stepped forward, saying coldly, "Mr. Gu, Ms. Gu, Miss Xiao's request is perfectly reasonable. If you refuse to cooperate, the legal department of Lin Group will immediately take legal action. At that point, not only will you have to return the property, but you'll also be held legally responsible." Rowangu and Zhao Lan both knew the strength of the Lin Group, and upon hearing Kim Jing's words, their faces turned pale. Rowangu clenched his teeth and said, "Clara, I can return the property deed to you, but could you please reconsider the idea of remarrying? The Gu family is currently facing some difficulties. If you could help me out, the Gu family will surely be grateful to you. Help you." I laughed as if I'd heard the biggest joke. "Rowangu, have you forgotten how you treated me when my family went through that crisis? When my father asked you to help me out financially, you not only refused, but you added insult to injury, saying my family was hopeless, like a lost cause. Now that you're in trouble, you expect me to help you. Do you really think that's possible?" Rowangu's face flushed red and pale in turn, and he lowered his head in shame. But Zhao Lan was not convinced and said, "That was all in the past. Why bring it up now? Now that Clara has money, isn't it right for you to help support your in-laws? Your in-laws' house?" I said coldly, "I've already divorced Rowangu. The Gu family is no longer my in-laws' house. And Zhao, please make sure you understand that. I finished speaking and turned to leave. Raven Su and Kim Zhang hurried to follow me. When we reached the bottom of the hospital building, Lily Lin suddenly blocked our way. She stared at me, her eyes filled with hostility. Clarissa, don't think you're superior just because you inherited the family fortune. Rowan loves me. He only got back together with you for your money. Once he gets through this crisis, he'll definitely divorce you and come back to me. I looked at her, feeling both pity and amusement. Lily Lin, are you really that naive? If Rowan Gu truly loved you, he wouldn't have cut ties with you the moment I inherited the family fortune. You were just his companion during loneliness, a shield when he was in trouble, nothing more. Lily Lin's face turned deathly pale. She shook her head frantically, saying, "It's impossible. Rowan isn't that kind of person, believe it or not. It's up to you." I stepped around her and walked straight toward the Bentley parked by the roadside, getting into the car. Raven Su looked at me with concern and said, "Clara, Rowan Gu and Zhao Lan definitely won't let this go. You need to be more careful from now on." "I know." I nodded, "but I'm not the Clara Xia who used to be bullied anymore. If they dare to bother me again, I'll make them pay." Kim Zhang also said, "Miss Xia, please rest assured, I've already arranged bodyguards to protect your safety 24 hours a day. Regarding the Gu Group matter, I've sent someone to investigate. They currently have a major cooperation project, and the partner happens to be a subsidiary of the Lin Group. If you want to teach them a lesson, we can terminate the cooperation at any time." My eyes lit up, ending the collaboration. "That's a good idea, Lawyer Zhang. Arrange it right away. Terminate all cooperation with the Gu Group first thing tomorrow morning. Also, inform all companies that have partnerships with the Gu Group. Anyone who dares to help them will be considered an enemy of the Lin Group. Rowan Gu doesn't want to rely on me to revive the Gu Group. I'll make sure his Gu Group goes completely bankrupt instead. This is just the beginning of my revenge. What he owed me before, I'll take back bit by bit." Kim Zhang nodded. "Yes, Miss Xia, I'll go right away." The car slowly drove away from the hospital. I looked out the window at the passing scenery, my heart calm. Rowan Gu's remorse, Zhao Lan's clinging, and Lily Lin's resentment all had nothing to do with me anymore. What I needed to do now was to quickly familiarize myself with the affairs of the Lin Group, shoulder the heavy responsibility left by my grandfather, and live a wonderful life of my own. As the Bentley just left the hospital parking lot, Kim Zhang's phone rang. He answered it, listened for a moment, his expression shifting slightly. After hanging up, he immediately said, "Miss Xia, the hospital just reported that Uncle Fu has regained consciousness, but as soon as he woke up and heard you were reclaiming the dowry house and terminating your cooperation with the Gu Group, his emotions flared. Before he even knew it, he fainted again." Raven Su let out a snort of laughter. "This Uncle Fu is too easily frightened. Truly a paper-thin body and a glass heart." I leaned back in my seat, lightly tapping my knees with my fingers, my tone calm. "It's not that he's easily frightened, his conscience is just guilty. These 3 years, he's joined Zhao Lan in bullying me, never missing a chance to kick me while I was down. Now that he knows I have the power to take revenge, naturally he's scared out of his wits." Kim Zhang added, "I also found out that over the years, Fu Bo, using his position as the head butler of the Gu family, has secretly taken bribes from multiple suppliers. Last year alone, he misappropriated 50,000 yuan from the family's living expenses. Rowan Gu never pursued it before because he found him convenient to work with, but now that the Gu family is in trouble, that debt is likely to be settled on his shoulders. Self-inflicted," I sneered. "It's no surprise what happens to such opportunistic cowards." The car had just returned to Qingshan Villa when I saw 2 servants in Gu family uniforms standing at the entrance, the same 2 who had previously carried Uncle Fu to the hospital. Upon seeing my car, they immediately approached, their faces showing visible anxiety. The bodyguards got out of the car and blocked their way. One of the older servants hurriedly called out, "Miss Xia, we're not here to cause trouble. It's the old lady who sent us to tell you that we, the Gu family, Accept responsibility for Uncle Fu's incident. We'll cover the medical expenses ourselves. Please don't pursue this any further. I rolled down the window and coldly looked at them. Is there anything else? Another, younger servant hurriedly said. And about Uncle Fu's job. He's worked for the Gu family for 15 years, and his entire family depends on his salary to survive. If he's fired, his whole family won't be able to live. He asked us to deliver a message to you. He knows he was wrong, and he'll never dare to do it again. Please, have mercy and speak up for him to Mr. Gu. Speak up for him. I laughed as if it were the funniest thing I'd ever heard. When he threw my things out the door and forced me to leave in 10 minutes, why didn't he think about giving me an escape route? His job is the Gu family's business. It has nothing to do with me. He can go find Rowan Gu himself. After saying that, I gestured to the driver to drive. The car slowly entered the villa's gates. Through the rearview mirror, I saw the two servants standing in place, their faces filled with despair. Raven Su sighed. Although Uncle Fu is unpleasant, it's still a bit pitiful when you think about his entire family depending on him for survival. Those who are pitiable must have something hateful about them. I shook my head. If he had just lived a peaceful life, not bullied others with his power, he wouldn't have ended up like this. As soon as I entered the villa, my phone rang. It was Rowan Gu. I hesitated for a moment before answering, wondering what he would say this time. Clara, are you really going to terminate cooperation with the Gu group? Rowan Gu's voice was clearly panicked and pleading. That project is critical to the Gu group. Without Lin's support, the Gu group will truly be finished. Whether they finish or not is your problem. What does it have to do with me? I replied coldly. Back then, when you took my dad's money to invest and lost everything, why didn't you think about how the Gu group might fall? Those are all in the past. Rowan Gu's voice trembled with urgency. Clara, I know I've wronged you, but for the sake of our 3 years as husband and wife, please help me just this once. Once Gu's group gets through this crisis, I'll make it up to you double. Compensate me, I sneered. What can you possibly use to compensate me? Your nearly bankrupt company. Or your reputation ruined by cheating. Rowan Gu, stop wasting your time. I won't help you. Clara Xia. Rowan Gu's voice suddenly turned harsh. Don't push me too far. Believe me, I'll expose all the suffering you endured in the Gu family, and let everyone know you're a vindictive, spiteful woman. Go ahead and expose it, I said without fear. Then I'll casually reveal your affair with Lily Lin, how you seized my dowry house, and had the butler bully me. Let's see if people will call me vengeful or you a scoundrel. Rowan Gu was speechless, choked by my words. After a few seconds, his tone softened again. Clara, I was wrong. I shouldn't have threatened you. What do you want from me to help? Whatever you ask. As long as you help me, I'll agree. My conditions are simple, I said slowly. First, return the property title of my dowry house immediately. Second, publicly apologize to me and admit that you cheated and seized my property. Third, compensate me for the mental distress I've suffered at the Gu family over the past 3 years. Nothing extravagant, just 100 million. 100 million, Rowan Gu exclaimed. Clara Xia, you're blackmailing me. I can't possibly come up with that kind of money right now. It's none of your concern, I said coldly. Either meet my conditions, or watch the Gu group go bankrupt. Choose wisely. After saying that, I immediately hung up the phone and added Rowan Gu's number to my blacklist. I couldn't even bear to look at such a person for even a second, let alone waste words on him. Raven Su gave a thumbs up beside me. Clara, you're so cool. 100 million, just enough to make him bleed real bad. This is just the beginning, I smiled. Everything he owed me, I'll get back, bit by bit. Early the next morning, I was woken up by a call from Kim Zhang. He told me that rumors about the Gu group's financial chain breaking down had already spread. Many partners were beginning to demand payment, and the Gu group was now in complete chaos. I had just finished washing up and eating breakfast when I received a call from the hospital. It was Mr. Fu's son. He was crying on the phone, begging me to spare his father, saying that Mr. Fu had already been fired by the Gu family and was now lying in the hospital, unable to even afford medical bills. Your father's matter has nothing to do with me, I said coldly. He was fired by the Gu family. The medical expenses should be claimed from the Gu family, not from me. Gu's family doesn't care at all, cried the servant's son. Mr. Gu said my father embezzled the family's money, and not only refused to pay for medical expenses, but also demanded my father to compensate. Miss Xia, I know my father wronged you before, but now he's already in such a state. Please have mercy on us. I frowned, although I disliked old Fu. I couldn't help but feel sorry for him after hearing how pitiful his son sounded. After thinking for a moment, I said to him, have your father call me personally and apologize. If he's sincere, I might consider helping him pay part of the medical expenses. Thank you, Miss Xia. Thank you, Miss Xia. Uncle Fu's son hurriedly expressed his gratitude. Within minutes, Uncle Fu's phone call came through. His voice was weak, filled with obvious guilt and pleading. Miss Xia, I was wrong. It was all my fault before. I shouldn't have used my power to bully you, nor should I have helped Mr. Gu and the elderly lady mistreat you. Please, be magnanimous and don't hold it against me. Do you know where you went wrong? I coldly asked. Yes, I know, Uncle Fu quickly replied. I shouldn't have forced you to move out of the villa right after you signed the divorce papers. I shouldn't have thrown your things out. And I shouldn't have helped Mr. Gu cover up his affair. I'm sorry. Miss Xia, I'm so sorry. I'll bow to you. There was a muffled thud on the other end of the phone, probably Uncle Fu bowing to me on his hospital bed. My anger eased a bit, and I said, since you've shown a sincere attitude, I'll pay half of your medical expenses, but remember, this is the last time. From now on, you must act with conscience. Thank you, Miss Xia. Thank you, Miss Xia. Uncle Fu burst into tears, moved. You're such a kind person. I'll never dare to do bad things again. Hanging up the phone, Ravensu looked at me in puzzlement. Clara, why did you actually pay for his medical expenses? People like him don't deserve sympathy at all. I'm not feeling sorry for him. I'm feeling sorry for his family. I shook my head. If he truly can't afford the medical expenses, his family will suffer too. Besides, I've already punished him, made him lose his job and made him realize his mistake. That's enough. Just after hanging up with Uncle Fu, Kim Zheng arrived at the villa. He handed me a document. Miss Xia, this is the latest report from various departments of the Lin Group, as well as the agenda for today's board meeting. Also, the situation with the Gu Group is getting worse. 2 banks have already started demanding repayment. I took the document and quickly glanced through it. Good, Lawyer Zhang, please arrange it. I'm going to Lin Group this afternoon to meet with the department heads. Yes, Miss Xia, Kim Zhang nodded. I've already informed the department heads, and they're all waiting for you at the company. At 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I arrived at the Lin Group on time. As soon as the car stopped at the entrance of the Lin Group building, several vice presidents of the group, accompanied by a team of employees, greeted me at the door. Seeing me, they respectfully bowed and said, "Good afternoon, Mr. Xia." I nodded and smiled, saying, "Hello everyone, please take care of me in the future." Entering the Lin Corporation building, the spacious and bright lobby, the exquisite decor, and the busy yet orderly staff all made me feel the strength and depth of the Lin Group. My grandfather must have invested a great deal of effort to build such a vast business empire. The elevator went directly to the top floor to the president's office. The office was large, decorated in a simple yet grand style, with floor-to-ceiling windows offering a sweeping view of the entire city. Providing an exceptionally wide perspective, Mr. Xia, this is your office, Kim Zheng said, pointing to the chair behind the desk. Mr. Lin specifically instructed before his passing that once you inherit the group, this office would be yours. I walked over to the desk and sat down, looking at the photo of my grandfather placed on the table, feeling a wave of emotion. Grandfather, rest assured, I will take good care of the Lin Group and will not let you down. Over the next few hours, I held meetings with the heads of various departments to understand their operations. These leaders were all personally nurtured by my grandfather. They were experienced, capable, and showed me great respect. With their help, I believe I will soon become familiar with the group's business. After the meeting, Kim Zhang walked into the office holding a document. Miss Xia, this is the latest financial report from the Gu Group. They currently owe the bank over 3 billion. And if they don't repay within a week, the bank will apply to seize Gu's assets. Over 3 billion. I raised an eyebrow, more than I expected. It seems Rowan Gu has really run the Gu Group into the ground over the years. Yes, Kim Zhang nodded. Rowan Gu was too eager for quick success, investing in several high-risk projects over the years, all of which ended in losses. If it weren't for the money your father gave back then, the Gu family would have gone bankrupt long ago. I let out a cold laugh. He's just a helpless Liu, lawyer Zhang. Keep an eye on the Gu family. If they make any moves, let me know immediately. Yes, Miss Xia, Kim Zhang replied. Just stepping out of the Lin building, I saw Rowan Gu and Zhao Lan standing at the entrance. When they saw me, they immediately came forward, both with anxious expressions on their faces. Clara, you finally came out. Rowan Gu grabbed my arm. Just help me one more time. Just once, if you help me. I'll promise you anything, Zhao Lan hurriedly added. Clara, it was all my fault before. I shouldn't have made things difficult for you. Just think about our mother-in-law and daughter-in-law relationship. Please, save the Gu family, mother-in-law and daughter-in-law relationship. I ripped my arm away from Rowan Gu when you called me a hen that doesn't lay eggs and made me hand-wash silk clothes. Did you ever think we were mother-in-law and daughter-in-law? Zhao Lan's face flushed pale then red. She quickly apologized. I was wrong. I shouldn't have said those things. Please forgive me. Okay, I won't forgive you, and I won't help you. I said coldly, you'd better find a way to raise the money quickly. Don't waste my time here. Clara Xia, Rowan Gu suddenly dropped to his knees and clung to my leg. Please, just help me this one time. I know I've wronged you, but I promise I'll make it up to you. Even if you want me to work as a slave, I'll do it. The surrounding employees gathered around, pointing and whispering among themselves. Isn't this Mr. Gu from the Gu Group? Why is he kneeling before our president Xia? He's said to have cheated in the past, dumping our boss Xia. And now that the company is going bankrupt, he's coming back asking for her help. He deserves it. That kind of scumbag shouldn't get any help. Rowan Gu, overhearing the gossip, turned red-faced and buried his head deeper. Zhao Lan stood beside him, at a loss, her face filled with embarrassment. I stared at Rowan Gu kneeling on the ground, feeling not a shred of sympathy, only disgust. I yanked my hand away from him forcefully. Rowan Gu, don't make a fool of yourself here. Get up now. You won't get up unless you agree to help me, Rowan Gu insisted stubbornly. Just then, an ambulance roared to a stop at the entrance of the Lin Group building. Medical staff got out of the vehicle and rushed into the crowd carrying a stretcher. I was momentarily stunned, not knowing what had happened. It's Uncle Fu, Zhao Lan suddenly screamed. How could he come here? I followed her gaze and saw Uncle Fu being carried by several medical staff, his face deathly pale. Eyes tightly shut, exactly the same appearance as when I last saw him at the villa. His son followed closely behind, sobbing. My father heard that Mr. Gu was here begging Miss Xia, so he insisted on coming to see, but as soon as he reached the entrance, he saw Mr. Gu kneeling on the ground, and he got so worked up that he fainted again. Rowan Gu saw Uncle Fu and was also stunned, quickly rising from the ground. How could Uncle Fu end up like this? It's all because of you. Uncle Fu's son shouted in tears. My father was fired by you, and you forced him to compensate for the embezzled money. Now he can't even afford medical expenses. If only you had treated Miss Xia better, things wouldn't have come to this. Rowan Gu was speechless, his face turning pale and then red with anger. The surrounding murmurs grew louder, all blaming Rowan Gu for his heartlessness. The medical staff loaded Uncle Fu onto the ambulance, which roared away. Uncle Fu's son glanced at Rowan-gu with resentment, then ran after the ambulance. Rowan-gu looked in the direction the ambulance had disappeared, then glanced at the surrounding crowd pointing and whispering, and finally couldn't stand it any longer. He grabbed Zhao Lan and went together, scurrying away in embarrassment. Kim Zhang walked up to me and said in a low voice, "Miss Xia, are you all right?" "I'm fine." I shook my head. Let them make a scene, the louder they get, the clearer everyone will see their true colors. Raven Su also hurried over. She had just gone to buy coffee and missed the scene earlier. After hearing what I said, she was so angry she stamped her foot. Rowan-gu is utterly shameless. How could he kneel at the entrance of the company? And Uncle Fu, he's such an unlucky guy. Why does he always get caught up in these incidents? That's karma. I smiled. The bad things they did in the past are now catching up with them, one by one. Sitting in the car, I watched the Lin Corporation building gradually disappear in the rearview mirror, my heart calm. Rowan-gu's kneeling and Uncle Fu's fainting were both expected. What they are enduring now is entirely self-inflicted. Kim Zhang handed me a glass of water. "Miss Xia, the Gu group is now cornered. What do you plan to do next?" I took a sip of water, my gaze firm. What else can I do? Press the advantage. Of course, Lawyer Zhang, help me contact the creditors of the Gu family. Tell them that if Rowan-gu fails to pay, we should immediately apply for seizure of the Gu group's assets. Also, prepare a plan for acquiring the Gu group. I want Rowan-gu to hand over his company to me himself. Rowan-gu doesn't value his company much, does he? I'm determined to take away what he holds most dear, letting him experience the taste of having nothing. This is only the first step of my revenge. Even more exciting things await him in the future. Kim Zhang nodded. Yes, Miss Xia. I'll handle it immediately. As the Bentley just pulled away from the Lin Group building, Kim Zhang received a call from the legal department. After hanging up, he reported to me, "Miss Xia, several key partners of the Gu Group have already received our hints. 3 companies just formally sent letters terminating their cooperation. Rowan-gu is likely going to be in a complete mess now." I leaned back in the seat, playing with the photos of internal chaos within the Gu group just received on my phone, a cold smirk curling at the corner of my lips. This is just an appetizer. I want him to know that losing me was the biggest mistake of his life. Raven Su was scrolling through her moments when she suddenly let out a ha. "Clara, look at Lily Lin's post." She actually posted a picture of the Qingshan villa, writing, "Finally have a home of my own." How shameless can she get? I took Raven Su's phone and took a look. In the photo, Lily Lin was wearing a white dress, standing in the courtyard of the Qingshan villa, holding a bouquet of champagne roses, her face beaming with pride. The post was made just half an hour ago, clearly taken while I was busy in a meeting at the Lin Group. Very bold of her, I sneered. "Lawyer Zhang, turn the car around. I'd like to see how she dares to turn my house into her home." "Yes, Miss Xia." The driver immediately turned the car around. The Bentley car gracefully curved along the road, speeding toward the Qingshan villa. Just as I arrived at the villa's entrance, I saw several workers brought by Lily Lin moving stuff, sofas, wardrobes, and her pink dolls, piled up all over the doorway. Lily Lin directed the workers like a mistress of the house, muttering, "Place this sofa in the living room by the window, where the sunlight is good. Rowan will definitely love it. And put those dolls in the bedroom." My bedroom with Rowan's needs to be cozy. The bodyguard stepped forward to block the workers. Lily Lin saw my car and her expression changed slightly, but she quickly regained composure, swaying her hips toward me, deliberately jutting out her chest and waving her diamond ring. "Clarissa, you're back. Oh, I forgot. You're no longer the mistress of this house. This is now my home, my home." I stepped out of the car, looking down at her from above. "Lily Lin, have you forgotten that yesterday Lawyer Zhang already presented the property deed? This house is mine. Who gave you the nerve to trespass into my house?" Lily Lin turned pale for a moment, then forced a calm look. "Clarissa, don't talk nonsense here. Rowan said this house is his. It's already promised to me. You just inherited some fortune and think you're so special. Rowan Gu said that. I sneered. He doesn't even own this house. What gives him the right to give it to you? Lawyer Zhang, hand her the property deed so she can see clearly whose house this really is. Kim Zhang immediately pulled the property deed from her briefcase and handed it to Lily Lin. As Lily Lin saw the name Clara Xia on the document, her face turned pale, and she staggered, nearly falling. This can't be. This can't be. Lily Lin shook her head, unable to believe her eyes. Rowan clearly said this house was his. How could he lie to me? He's not lying to you. He doesn't even understand the situation himself. I stepped beside her and gently patted her shoulder. Lily Lin, you're too naive. A man like Rowan Gu, who can betray his own wife. Do you really believe a word he says? Lily Lin suddenly lifted her head, her eyes filled with hostility. Clara Xia, don't get too pleased. Even if this house isn't Rowan's, he'll find a way to buy me a more luxurious villa. Do you think just because you inherited billions, you can snatch Rowan away from me? Let me tell you, Rowan loves me, not you, love you. I sounded like I'd heard the world's biggest joke. If he truly loved you, he wouldn't have knelt before me begging for a reunion when Gu's group was on the verge of bankruptcy. If he truly loved you, he wouldn't have let you come to my house and make a scene like this. You're lying, Lily Lin shouted. Rowan would never ask you to remarry. He told me yesterday that he wants to marry me and make me the boss's wife of the Gu group. Boss's wife, I sneered. Gu Group now owes the bank over 3 billion. It'll go bankrupt within a week. By then, you'll be the wife of a bankrupt owner. Lily Lin, I really admire your courage. How can you marry into such a company that's about to collapse? Lily Lin's face turned pale then flushed. Clearly unaware of the actual situation with Gu Group, she gritted her teeth and said, Don't try to scare me here. Gu Group is such a huge company. How could it go bankrupt just like that? Clara Xia, you're just jealous of my relationship with Rowan, so you're deliberately making up these lies to drive a wedge between us. Whether I'm making up lies or not, just call Rowan Gu and find out. I took out my phone and held it out in front of her, but let me remind you, Rowan Gu might not have time to answer your call right now. He's busy trying to borrow money everywhere. Lily Lin hesitated for a moment, then took out her phone and called Rowan Gu. The phone rang for a long time before being answered, and Rowan Gu's voice carried obvious impatience. Lily, I'm very busy right now. Let's talk about it later. Rowan, Lily Lin asked anxiously. Clara Xia said that Gu Group is about to go bankrupt. Is that true? There was a pause on the other end of the phone, and Rowan Gu's voice became slightly flustered. Lily, don't listen to her nonsense. She's just trying to drive a wedge between us. The Gu Group is just facing a minor problem, and it will be resolved soon. A little trouble. I snatched Lily Lin's phone and shouted into the call. Rowan Gu, 3 partners have terminated their cooperation. 2 banks are demanding debt. This is what you call a little trouble. How long do you think you can keep this hidden? Clara Xia, don't go too far. Rowan Gu's voice turned fierce. Give Lily her phone back right away, or I won't be nice to you. Unfriendly, I sneered. You can't even protect yourself now. What right do you have to be unfriendly to me? Rowan Gu, I'm telling you, Lily Lin is in my house right now. If you don't want her to be embarrassed, come get her right away. After finishing, I hung up the phone and tossed it to Lily Lin. Lily Lin caught it, her face pale and her eyes filled with panic and unease. She finally realized that Rowan Gu might have actually deceived her. How is it? I looked at her. Now you believe what I said, right? Rowan Gu is just a liar. He can't give you the life you want. Lily Lin clenched her teeth, tears welling up in her eyes. Even if the Gu Group truly runs into trouble, I'll stand beside Rowan and face the hardship together. Unlike you, who only take advantage when he's down. Taking advantage. I let out a cold laugh. I'm trying to help you see the truth, Lily Lin. Do you really care about Rowan Gu? You're just attracted to his identity as the CEO of the Gu Group. if he were to lose everything, would you still stay with him? Lily Lynn's expression changed, and she said nothing. Clearly, my words had touched a sore spot. Just then, Rowan-gu rushed in. He saw the chaos at the doorway and glanced at Lily Lynn, whose face was pale. He immediately understood what had happened. He stepped forward to me and said anxiously, "Clara, this is all a misunderstanding. Lily didn't know this house was yours. I'll take her away right now." "Miscarriage of justice," I said coldly. "Breaking into a house is also a misunderstanding." "Rowan-gu, do you think I'm easy to bully?" "That's not what I meant." Rowan-gu quickly waved his hands. "Clara, I know Lily made a mistake. I'll have her apologize to you." "Lily, quickly apologize to Miss Xia." Lily Lynn glared at Rowan-gu and said, not convinced, "Why should I apologize to her? She stole my man." "What are you talking about?" Rowan-gu's face turned red with anxiety. "I'm the one who wronged Clara Xia. I was the one who cheated first. Don't make a fuss here." This was the first time Rowan-gu had ever accused Lily Lynn in front of me. Lily Lynn clearly hadn't expected this, pausing for a moment before bursting into tears. "Rowan, how could you treat me like this? I waited patiently for you abroad for 3 years, giving up such a great job, and now you're blaming me for her." "It's not for her, it's you who's really in the wrong." Rowan-gu frowned, his tone clearly impatient. "The Gu group is currently in crisis. Can't you just be sensible and stop causing me trouble?" Lily Lynn cried even harder upon hearing his words. "Mature? If I'm mature, who will care for me?" "Rowan, you've changed. You weren't like this before. You used to obey me in everything, but now you're blaming me for the sake of a stranger." "I haven't changed." Rowan-gu also got agitated. "You're being too selfish. Look at yourself now. What kind of image is this? Come with me right away," he said, about to pull Lily Lynn away. Lily Lynn shook off his hand and cried out, "I'm not leaving. I'm staying here. You promised this house to me. Why should I go? You're completely unreasonable." Rowan-gu was so angry his face turned dark green. "This house isn't mine. It belongs to Clara Xia. How can I give it to you if you don't leave now? I'm not responsible for you anymore." Lily Lynn looked at Rowan-gu's resolute gaze and finally realized he was serious. She cried even harder, sobbing as she said, "Rowan, are you really going to abandon me? After all these years of feelings between us, you're just going to give up on everything?" Rowan-gu's eyes flickered, clearly moved as well, but seeing my cold stare and remembering the situation at Gu Group, he ultimately hardened his heart and said, "Lily, we'll talk about this later. Right now, come with me. Don't cause trouble for Miss Xia here." "I won't." Lily Lynn shook her head, suddenly turning to me with hatred in her eyes. "Clara Xia, it's all your fault. It's because of you that Rowan has become like this, you vixen. May you die a miserable death. Watch your mouth." Kim Zheng stepped forward, coldly saying, "Miss Lin, you have already violated the law by breaking into Miss Xia's residence. If you continue to insult Miss Xia, we will immediately call the authorities and hold you legally accountable." Lily Lin was intimidated by Kim Zheng's fierce demeanor and dared not insult her anymore, but still glared at me stubbornly. I looked at her and said coldly, "Lily Lin, I'll give you 10 minutes to move all your things out. If any of your belongings are still in my house after 10 minutes, I'll throw them straight into the trash." Rowan-gu also hurriedly said to Lily Lin, "Lily, hurry up and pack. Miss Xia has already been more than kind to you. Don't be so willful anymore." Lily Lin, seeing Rowan-gu's anxious expression and looking into my cold eyes, finally dared not resist any further. She began gathering her things while sobbing. The workers she had brought saw the situation and didn't dare delay. Quickly helping her move the belongings, Raven-su walked up to me and whispered, "Clara, look at Lily Lin. She looks pretty pitiful too. Those who deserve pity must also have something hateful about them." I shook my head. If she had just lived her life properly, not meddling in other people's marriages, she wouldn't have ended up in this situation. 10 minutes passed quickly, and Lily Lin finally finished moving all her things. She walked over to Rowan-gu and said with a hint of wronged, Rowan, where are we going now? Rowan Gu frowned, clearly unsure of where to go. The Gu group was now suffering from a broken capital chain, his bank card had been frozen, and he was running out of money even for hotel stays. I looked at their awkward state, feeling not a shred of compassion. This was all their own doing. They couldn't blame anyone else. Rowan Gu, I spoke up, don't forget the condition I mentioned earlier. Return my property certificate within 3 days. Or I'll sue you for occupying someone else's property. Rowan Gu's face changed, and he quickly said, Clara, I understand. I'll definitely return the property certificate to you as soon as possible. He pulled Lily Lin along and slipped away, watching their retreating figures. A great stone in my heart finally fell to the ground. Kim Zhang walked beside me and whispered, Miss Xia, the situation at Gu Group is getting worse. The bank has officially sent a letter demanding they repay the debt within 3 days, or they will apply to seize Gu Group's assets. 3 days, I raised an eyebrow. Perfect. My deadline is also 3 days. Looks like Rowan Gu is really cornered this time. Yes, Kim Zhang nodded. Now that Gu Group's stock has hit the limit down, many shareholders are selling off their shares. Rowan Gu is completely powerless to turn things around. I smiled. This is what he deserves. Lawyer Zhang. Prepare for me. I'm going to Gu Group tomorrow to see how Rowan Gu handed over his company so easily. Yes, Miss Xia, Kim Zhang replied. As soon as I entered the villa, my phone rang. It was an unknown number. I hesitated for a moment before answering. Is this Miss Clara Xia? A gentle female voice asked on the other end. This is me. May I ask who you are? I'm Lily Lin's friend. My name is Zhou Ting, the woman said. Miss Xia, I know you're very angry right now, but Lily truly loves Rowan Gu. She was also deceived by Rowan Gu. I heard that Gu Group is about to go bankrupt, and Lily is now homeless. Could you, as a noble person, show mercy and let her off the hook? I sneered. When she meddled in my marriage, didn't she think about letting me off the hook? When she trespassed into my house, didn't she think about letting me off the hook? Miss Zhou, if you truly care about Lily Lin, persuade her to behave herself in the future and stop interfering in other people's marriages. Miss Xia, how can you say that? Zhou Ting's voice became somewhat agitated. Lily is also a victim. When Rowan Gu pursued her, he said he was single. Lily had no idea he was already married. Didn't know. I sneered. They've been together abroad for 3 years. Rowan Gu never blocked her on his WeChat moments. How could she possibly not know? Miss Zhou, don't bother defending her. I have things to do. Gotta go. After saying that, I immediately hung up the phone. Friends like this, who aid and abet wrongdoing, are just as annoying as Lily Lin. Raven Su looked at me helplessly and said, Clara, why is Lily Lin so blind? She knows full well that Rowan Gu is a scoundrel, yet she insists on clinging to that crooked tree. She isn't blind, she's just unwilling to accept it. I shook my head. She gave up so much for Rowan Gu, and now she has nothing. Of course she's unwilling. But that has nothing to do with me. She chose her own path, and she must bear the consequences herself. That evening, as I was reviewing the project documents for Lin Group in my study, Kim Zhang suddenly called to tell me that Rowan Gu had taken Lily Lin to the Gu family's ancestral residence and had a huge fight with Zhao Lan. Zhao Lan was so enraged that she suffered a heart attack and was now in the hospital being treated. I put down the documents in my hand, a cold smile curling on my lips. The Gu family is truly going through a period of turmoil. Gu Corporation is on the brink of bankruptcy. Zhao Lan has suffered another heart attack, and Rowan Gu and Lily Lin are still in conflict. It truly proves the old saying, you reap what you sow. Miss Xia, are you going to visit the hospital? Asked Kim Zhang. No, I said firmly. Zhao Lan's heart condition has nothing to do with me. If I go, they'll just blame me. Lawyer Zhang. Keep an eye on the hospital situation and let me know immediately if there's any news. Yes, Miss Xia. The next morning, just as dawn broke, Kim Zhang arrived at Qingshan Villa with his legal team and the acquisition proposal. I wore a well-tailored black suit dress, high heels clicking as I stood before the full-length mirror. Looking at my reflection, I saw determined gaze, an unstoppable aura. My lips curled into a confident smile. This was the way I should be. Not a clinging vine circling around a worthless man, but the heir of the Lin Group, standing alone and strong. Miss Xia, everything is ready. The Gu Group is now in chaos, with shareholders waiting in the conference room, hoping someone will take over this mess. Kim Zhang reported respectfully. Good, I nodded. Let's go meet our CEO Gu. The convoy slowly drove out of Qingshan Villa, heading toward the Gu Group. Along the way, Kim Zhang kept updating me on the latest situation at Gu Group. The bank has frozen all of Gu Group's accounts. 5 more partners terminated their cooperation last night. Now, the area outside Gu Group's office building is crowded with debt collectors and reporters. Through the car window, I saw from a distance the slightly outdated office building of the Gu Group. Below, the streets were bustling with traffic. Journalists holding cameras and microphones, suppliers carrying banners that read Gu Group owes money, pay it back, creating a chaotic scene. Several of Rowan Gu's bodyguards struggled at the entrance to maintain order, their faces filled with anxiety. As soon as our convoy came to a stop, journalists swarmed us like sharks detecting blood in the water. Kim Zhang and the bodyguards immediately stepped forward in front of me, clearing a path. Are you Ms. Xia from the Lin Group? Are you here to acquire the Gu Group? Ms. Xia, you and Mr. Gu of the Gu Group were ex-husband and ex-wife. Now that you're acquiring the Gu Group, are you trying to take revenge on him? I didn't answer the reporter's questions, merely giving a slight nod before walking straight into the Gu Group's office building. The hallways were filled with hurried employees, some packing up their things to leave, others whispering anxiously about the company's situation, their faces etched with unease. Mr. Xia is here, someone shouted unexpectedly, and the hallway instantly fell silent. All the employees' eyes turned toward me, some curious, some awed, and some with a hint of schadenfreude. After all, Rowan Gu usually acted arrogantly in the company, and many employees had suffered under his behavior. The meeting room door was slightly ajar, and loud arguing could be heard from inside. Rowan Gu, where have you invested all our money? Now the company is going bankrupt. You must give us an explanation. That's right. You said this project was guaranteed to make a profit, so we invested our money. Now we've lost everything. You have to take responsibility. I pushed the door open and walked in, and the arguing instantly ceased. Rowan Gu sat in the main seat, his hair disheveled, dark circles under his eyes, and his face covered in stubble. Clearly sleepless all night. When he saw me, his expression was a mixture of seeing a savior and a bitter enemy, his eyes filled with complex emotions. Lily Lin sat beside him, her eyes red and swollen, her face pale. When she saw me enter, she instinctively shrank behind Rowan Gu. Xia, what are you doing here? Rowan Gu's voice was hoarse, with a barely noticeable tremor. I'm here to acquire my company. I walked to the empty seat opposite him and sat down. Kim Zhang immediately passed the acquisition proposal to the shareholders. Gentlemen and ladies, this is Lin Group's acquisition plan. Lin Group is willing to acquire all shares of Gu Group at 30% of market value and assume all of Gu Group's debts. 30%, shareholders exclaimed. That's far too low. Low, I sneered. Right now, the Gu Group is in debt of over 3 billion. Its assets have already been frozen by the banks. In a few hours, the court's seizure order will arrive. At that point, the shares in your hands will be worthless as paper. A 30% buyout is already the courtesy I'm giving you. The shareholders looked at each other in silence. They knew in their hearts that I was telling the truth. At this point, apart from the Lin Group, no one was willing to take over the mess that was the Gu Group. I don't agree. Rowan Gu suddenly stood up, slamming the table and yelling, Gu Group was founded by my father, and I will never let it fall into your hands. Xia. Don't think you can do whatever you want just because you have some money. Whatever I want, I sneered. Rowan Gu, don't forget that the Gu Group has survived this long thanks to the money my father gave you back then. Now I'm just taking back what's rightfully mine. You're lying. Rowan Gu's eyes turned red. Gu sure belongs to me, whether it's yours or not. It's not up to you to decide. I took out my phone and played a recording. This is the recording of you embezzling the dowry money my father gave me for investment, and the recording where you admitted that Guer's group's funding chain had broken down and was kept afloat solely by my father's money, shareholders. Now you understand, don't you? Guer's group has long ceased to be Rowan Gu's alone. After listening to the recording, the shareholders all stared at Rowan Gu angrily. Nice going, Rowan Gu. You actually embezzled public funds behind our backs. We've been fooled. I agree to the acquisition. An older shareholder spoke up first. Mr. Xia, I'll sign. With the first one, came the second. Soon, most of the shareholders had signed. Only Rowan Gu remained, clutching the shares in his hand tightly, refusing to sign. Rowan Gu, stop struggling. I looked at him. You only hold 15% of the shares in Gu Group now, even if you don't sign. The acquisition agreement will still take effect. Rowan Gu swayed and nearly fell. Lily Lin quickly caught him, crying, Rowan, let's not hold on anymore. We can't fight her, can't fight. Rowan Gu shook off her hand, his eyes wild as he stared at me. Clarissa, had you planned this all along? You deliberately divorced me, deliberately concealed the inheritance of your family fortune, just to acquire Gu Group today. I don't have time to scheme against you. I stood up. I divorced you because I saw through your true nature. Inheriting the fortune was a pleasant surprise for me. Rowan Gu, you've come to this state because of yourself. Don't blame anyone else. At that moment, the meeting room door was pushed open, and 2 police officers walked in. Mr. Rowan Gu, we've received a report that you're involved in embezzlement and business fraud. Please come with us. Misappropriation of funds, business fraud. Rowan Gu was stunned. I didn't. Whether you come with us to the police station will be clear soon enough, the officer said, pulling out handcuffs and securing them around Rowan Gu's wrists. When Rowan Gu was taken away by the police, he suddenly turned back, looking at me with eyes full of regret and unwillingness. Clara, I was wrong. I really was wrong. Can you give me one more chance, opportunity? I said coldly. 3 years ago, I gave you a chance, but you didn't cherish it. Now, it's too late. After Rowan Gu was taken away, Lily Lin collapsed into a chair, her face as pale as death. She knew her dream of a life in the high society was completely shattered. I stepped in front of her and looked at her. Lily Lin, do you finally understand now? Rowan Gu can't give you the life you want. You disrupted someone else's marriage for him, gave up your job, and sacrificed your own life. Was it worth it? Lily Lin looked up, tears streaming down her face. I regret it, Clarissa. I truly regret it. It's no use regretting it. I shook my head. You interfered in my marriage and trespassed into my home. I can choose not to pursue legal action against you, but you must publicly apologize to me and leave this city forever. Lily Lin nodded hastily. I apologize. I'll apologize right away. I'll leave here today, after dealing with the Gu Group matter. When I walked out of the office building, reporters surrounded me again, this time. I didn't avoid them. Ms. Xia, after acquiring the Gu Group, what kind of reforms do you plan to implement? I will fire all incompetent employees, rebuild the management team, and transform the Gu Group into a subsidiary of the Lin Group, focusing exclusively on the development of the new energy sector. What is your opinion about Mr. Rowan Gu's situation? Self-inflicted. I looked into the camera and said clearly, I want to tell all women, never give up your dignity and career for love. Only when you are strong enough can you control your own life. Those who have hurt you will eventually pay for their actions. After speaking, I turned and walked into the car, leaving behind a flurry of camera flashes. As soon as the car left the Gu Group, Raven Su called, excitedly saying, "Clara, you were amazing. Your speech at the Goo Group is already trending on Weibo, and everyone is giving you kudos. Also, Lily Lin has publicly apologized to you on Weibo, saying she shouldn't have interfered in your marriage, and has already bought tickets to go abroad." "I know," I smiled, feeling completely calm. Kim Zhang also chuckled. "Miss Xia, congratulations on successfully acquiring the Goo Group. Now the Lin Group has doubled in size and has even greater influence in the new energy sector, all thanks to my grandfather and all the employees," I said, looking out the window. Lawyer Zhang. "I'll now familiarize myself with the Lin Group's business and quickly adapt to my role as CEO. Yes, Ms. Xia, I've arranged everything for you. Starting next Monday, the department heads will give you detailed reports on their work." The car slowly drove back to Qingshan Villa. As soon as I stepped out, I saw a familiar figure standing at the entrance, Uncle Fu. When he saw me, he quickly approached and bowed deeply. "Ms. Xia, thank you for paying my medical expenses. I've found a new job now. Here's some money I've saved. Please take it back." I looked at the money in his hand and shook my head. "No need. Consider it a lesson for you. Be a better person from now on, and don't bully others again. Thank you, Ms. Xia. Thank you, Ms. Xia." Uncle Fu was overwhelmed with gratitude, bowed again, and then slowly left. Walking into the villa, Raven Su was already waiting inside. She handed me a glass of red wine and smiled. "Clara, to celebrate your successful revenge. Your career and love both thriving." "Oh wait, love hasn't thrived yet." I took the red wine and took a sip. "Love is something that goes with fate. Right now, I just want to focus on my career and live a wonderful life of my own." "Right you are." Raven Su raised her glass. "To our billionaire lady, and to your wonderful life." I clinked glasses with Raven Su, gazing at the sunset outside the window. The afterglow of the sun bathed us in warmth and brilliance. I knew that the darkness of the past had completely vanished, and what awaited me was a future filled with hope. A few days later, news came from the court that Rowan Gu had been sentenced to 5 years in prison for embezzlement and commercial fraud. Zhao Lan suffered a heart attack and required long-term hospital treatment, while the Gu family's ancestral home was auctioned off to settle debts. Lily Lin left the city forever and never returned, and I officially became the president of the Lin Group. With the help of department heads, I quickly familiarized myself with the group's operations and successfully launched several new energy projects, pushing the Lin Group's market value to a new high. On a sunny afternoon, I stood in the top-floor office of the Lin Tower, gazing at the cityscape outside the window. Kim Zhang walked in and handed me a document. "Miss Xia, this is the financial report after the restructuring of the Goo Group. The performance is excellent. There's also a proposal from a Mr. Liu, who said he would like to discuss it with you personally." "A Mr. Liu." I took the document and looked at the signature on the cooperation proposal, pausing in surprise. Liu Ziyuan, president of one of the top investment firms in the country, and also a close friend of my late grandfather. "Let him in." The door opened, and a man in a white suit walked in. He was tall, handsome, with gentle yet deep eyes. The moment he saw me, he smiled. "Miss Clara Xia, I've heard so much about you." "I'm Liu Ziyuan." I smiled back. "Mr. Liu, welcome to the Lin Group." Sunlight streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows, falling upon us, filling everything with hope. I knew that my wonderful life had only just begun. Epilogue. The crystal chandeliers at the Lin Group's anniversary gala sparkled brilliantly. I stood at the center of the banquet hall in an elegant champagne-colored floor-length gown, calmly accepting congratulatory remarks from celebrities and elites. In this year as the president of the Lin Group, I had shed all traces of naivety, my every gesture and movement exuding the competence and grace of a professional woman. "Mr. Xia, congratulations on Lin Group's market value reaching a new high." The familiar warm voice sounded behind me. I turned around to see Liu Ziyuan approaching, holding 2 glasses of champagne, his white suit accentuating his refined and elegant demeanor. Over the past year, he had become not only Lin Group's most important partner, but also the one who quietly brought me hot coffee during countless late nights when I stayed up working on reports. Thank you, Mr. Liu. You've contributed to this as well. I took the champagne, and my fingertips accidentally brushed against his. Both of us paused slightly, and a subtle ripple filled the air. A year ago, neither of us could have imagined that we'd go from business partners to such well-matched close friends. Heard Rowan-gu got out of prison last week. Lu Ziyuan changed the subject, his gaze carrying a hint of concern. He was always like that, knowing I didn't want to talk about the past, yet quietly keeping an eye on people who might bring trouble. I took a light sip of champagne, my tone calm. Lawyer Zhang mentioned once that after he got out of prison, he went to visit Zhao Lan at the hospital, only to be chased out with a thermos cup. During Rowan-gu's 5 years in prison, Zhao Lan's heart condition had fluctuated, relying solely on selling the last remaining assets of the Gu family to maintain treatment. Long since stripped of her former arrogance, Lu Ziyuan let out a light laugh. He brought it upon himself. He turned slightly to block the curious glances from behind, whispering, I had someone find him a construction job, basically cutting off his chance to bother you again. A warmth spread through my heart. Over the past year, Lu Ziyuan's thoughtfulness had never been in grand declarations, but in this quiet, unobtrusive care. Just as I was about to thank him, Raven Su hurried over, lifting her skirt hem, her face alight with excitement. Clara, look who's here. Following her gesture, I looked toward the entrance, where a middle-aged couple stood, the man pushing a wheelchair, and seated in it was Uncle Fu. Over the past year, Fu had worked as a cashier at a supermarket near the community. In his free time, he even helped neighbors watch their children, completely transforming from his former bully-like ways. Miss Xia, Uncle Fu, seeing me, eagerly tried to stand up from his wheelchair, but I quickly held him down. His leg had been injured last year while helping a neighbor move things. I had someone help him contact the best doctor, and I also paid for the medical expenses. Just sit down, I said with a smile. I heard your grandson got into a key elementary school. Yes, Uncle Fu's wife quickly took over, pulling out sweet candies from her bag and handing them to me. It's all thanks to you. If you hadn't been so generous back then, we wouldn't know what our family would be like now. After exchanging a few pleasantries with Mr. and Mrs. Fu, Raven Su pulled me to a secluded spot and said mysteriously, I just heard from Lawyer Zhang that Lily Lin couldn't make it abroad anymore, so she returned to the country last month. She even went to the Gu group looking for you, but was stopped by the receptionist. I wasn't surprised. After going abroad, Lily Lin had hoped to marry someone wealthy, but she was swindled out of all her savings. Eventually forced to work at a restaurant, Lawyer Zhang had already informed me about her return. What happened to her afterward? Raven Su pressed. Lawyer Zhang gave her some money to leave the city. I said calmly, she's already paid the price for her mistakes. There's no need to finish her off. These days, I'm no longer bound by past hatred. To forgive others is also to free myself. Midway through the banquet, Lu Ziyuan took an excuse to lead me out of the banquet hall. He drove me to a hilltop on the outskirts of the city. The wind up there carried the scent of fresh grass, while the distant city lights twinkled in the dark. Remember when we first came here last year? Lu Ziyuan looked at me with a gentle gaze. Back then, you couldn't sleep because of the Gu group's restructuring, and you cried for a long time here. My face flushed with warmth, and I turned my head away, feeling a bit embarrassed. It's all in the past. It's not. Lu Ziyuan gently took my hand. From that day on, I told myself I would never let you be sad alone again. Clarissa, I'm not Rowan-gu. I won't let you suffer, and I won't make you choose between love and your career. I want to grow the Lin group with you, and I want to live an everyday life with you, between home, warmth, and routine. Will you give me this chance? The starlight on the mountaintop fell into his eyes, dazzling and captivating. I recalled his company and support throughout this year, his rice porridge he made himself when I was sick, and how he fiercely defended me in the boardroom. I nodded firmly, and tears slipped down my face. This time, they were tears of happiness. Lu Ziyuan hugged me tightly, his voice filled with barely suppressed joy. That's great, Clara. At that moment, my phone rang. It was Lawyer Zhang. He said Rowengu had gotten into a fight at the construction site and was taken away by the police. The other party was demanding medical compensation, with no other options. He remembered me and asked the police to call me. What do you want to do? Lu Ziyuan looked at me, respecting my decision. I dialed Lawyer Zhang's number and calmly said, pay the medical expenses for him, and tell him this is the last time. If he gets into trouble again, I won't get involved. Hanging up the phone, Lu Ziyuan wiped the tears from the corner of my eyes. Don't let someone unworthy ruin your mood. I smiled, leaning against his shoulder and gazing at the distant lights. Rowengu's obstinacy and Lily Lin's regret had both become fleeting smoke. I was no longer the Clarissa who needed to rely on men, but a partner who could stand side by side with Lu Ziyuan. 3 months later, Lu Ziyuan and I held a simple wedding ceremony. At the wedding, Uncle Fu approached in a wheelchair to offer his congratulations, while Raven Su, as the bridesmaid, cried uncontrollably. Lawyer Zhang stood among the guests, smiling with satisfaction. After marriage, Lu Ziyuan and I managed the Lin Group together, launching more environmentally friendly new energy projects that received strong support from the nation. In our free time, we traveled together, seeing the wonders of the world. Once, I ran into Rowengu at the supermarket. He was wearing faded work clothes, his hair now mostly gray. When he saw me, he paused in shock, then lowered his head in shame and hurried away. I didn't stop him, I just watched his back, feeling no emotion at all. Later, I heard from Raven Su that Rowengu had stopped dreaming of lofty ambitions and was working steadily at the construction site, sending most of his monthly salary to Zhao Lan at the hospital. Lily Lin, meanwhile, had opened a small flower shop in a nearby city and was reportedly living a peaceful life. On a weekend afternoon, I was sitting in the yard basking in sunlight when Lu Ziyuan came from behind and embraced me, handing me a cup of warm milk. What are you thinking about? He asked. That everything is just right, I replied, turning to kiss him on the cheek. Sunlight bathed us, warm and beautiful. Those past pains have become badges of growth. I've finally realized that a woman's greatest strength never comes from depending on anyone, but from shining as a light on her own. When you become exceptional enough, you naturally attract others who are equally wonderful. And together we move toward a future filled with blossoming flowers.